In this video, we'll take a look at old age security. This is likely the second most common source of retirement income for retirees. We'll talk about how it works, how you qualify for it, and how much you can expect from it. I'm creating a mini series about old age security or OAS, with the next video walking you through everything you need to know about the OAS clawback. In the third video, I'll share tips and strategies to reduce that same clawback, so be sure to subscribe and watch the next videos. So question number one, how does the OAS work? If you watch our video about the Canada Pension Plan, you would know that the CPP is based on your own contributions, which happens to be mandatory. On the other hand, old age security is not based on your contributions at all. It's taken from the general taxpayers fund or the public funds. It's from tax revenue. What we put to the Canadian government, they decide, and a portion of that gets carved to old age security. So how do you qualify for the OAS then if you don't contribute? The old age security is determined by your residency. Since you've made no contributions, all you really need to do to qualify is to be a Canadian resident for a long enough period of time. You must have lived in Canada for at least 10 years after the age of 18. To get to the maximum amount, you need to have at least 40 years of residency. This may seem like it's just semantics, but it's important. I said lived. You don't need to be a Canadian citizen. This is a common question that I get from a lot of immigrant clients and immigrant community groups. As long as you're a legal resident at the time of application and you satisfy the 10-year residency minimum, you will get the old age security. But that doesn't mean that you should take the OAS as soon as you're eligible. The OAS is proportionate. The benefit is proportionate based on your residency. This leads me to another misconception. The residency requirement is not a one-time test at 65. Let's use an example. Let's say Mary turned 65 this year and she moved from the Philippines 8 years ago. So she's 65 now, she only has 8 years, she doesn't qualify. But if she waits until she's 67, at that point, she has 10 years, she would then qualify for a prorated amount. You can read more about case studies from the Canadian government site, and I'll link that in the description below. It's because the government of Canada also has social security agreements with other countries that have similar pension benefits or similar social assistance benefits. This means if you don't have a full 10 years, if you participated in a pension scheme in the country that you lived in, you may be able to use those years as periods of Canadian residency. And here's a list of countries that have social security arrangements at the time of this recording. Be sure to check the link in the description below to see if your country of residence or your home country and the pension participation that you are entitled to there helps you qualify for the benefits here. So this is probably the most important question. How much can you receive from the old age security payment? Now, the current full or maximum OAS is $713.34 every month. This is if you qualified for the maximum, and that is then adjusted for inflation every quarter. So 4 times a year, the OAS is adjusted. This can then be adjusted up and down depending on your own personal calculations. So it's different for every single person depending on your residency. But again, if you've been here long enough, it's very likely that you qualify for the maximum. Lower income Canadians may then be eligible for additional OAS top-ups for low income, such as guaranteed income supplement. That would be in tomorrow's video. Now, this amount, the 713, is actually further increased if you're at 75 years old and above. That new maximum is $784.67. Same thing adjusted to inflation. Higher income individuals are worried about the OAS clawback because they're subjected to a recovery tax, or what we know as this clawback. We'll dive deeper into that in this mini series in the following video, because there's a lot of nuance to that. The old age security clawback doesn't happen just because you earn other income. So if you don't qualify for the maximum, how does the partial old age security work? If you don't qualify for the full OAS amount, but you've lived in Canada for at least 10 years, you would be eligible for a partial old age benefit, which is prorated for every year you qualify for residency out of 40 years as our maximum. So if you have qualified for 15 years of residency, you'll be eligible for 37.5% of the maximum benefit at the time of application. Your OAS payment will continue to pay that same proration for the rest of your life. So if you don't have full OAS benefit, taking it as soon as possible actually reduces your benefit in two ways. And we'll talk about the regular reduction if you take it sooner. But every year you stay in Canada without claiming old age security, that actually increases your eligibility. So please really consider this. If you're eligible for the partial benefit, but you're still working and you don't need the income yet, it's a really bad idea. And it's probably better for you if you wait to apply for the OAS until you're done working altogether. This is because the prorated benefit does not improve. So if you start your OAS today at that 37.5%, that stays as your eligibility going forward. The only way it increases is with inflation and when you get to age 75. So it doesn't matter, even after 2 years, you've lived here for 17 years instead of 15, your residency is locked in at the time that you applied for it. So I've already talked about delaying it, but when can you take old age security? The earliest that you can take old age security is at age 65, all right? There is an option to defer your payment up to 70. For every month after 65 that you qualify for the OAS but you don't take it, you will receive an enhancement of 0.6% or a 36% increase at age 70. Based on the current maximum, that's $256.80 more every single month. So imagine taking it out at 65 simply because you're winging it, or your neighbors told you that you should just take it as soon as possible, and you come to find out that you have made more and you would have had better income protection if you delayed it at 70. That's tens of thousands of dollars throughout your retirement that was not planned for efficiently. If you don't need to take out OAS, especially if you don't intend to retire at 65, it really just makes sense to wait for as long as possible. However, if you believe that you have a shortened life expectancy, that's a different story. It may make sense to just get as much government benefit as early as possible. But that's only if you have concrete reasons to believe that. We'll address how the OAS timing can actually impact the OAS clawback as well in our third video. From a high level, how does the OAS clawback work? Whenever I bring up government pensions, people tend to spring towards this clawback discussion immediately. They're so concerned that it's money that they deserve and the government takes it back. So they want to know how to get the most out of the OAS because they've been led to believe that any dollar you earn will cause you to lose old age security. That's simply not true. I just want to bring up a statistic here. Based on the 2021 census, the average income for individuals 65 and older was $44,300, while the median income was $33,100. That means half of the Canadian population in the retiree demographic declares income less than $33,000. The current income threshold before you are subjected to the old age security clawback is $90,997 for 2024. That will then reduce your benefit in 2025. That's more than double the average income, triple the median income. So for majority of you, the OAS clawback really isn't that big of a concern as long as you don't make silly mistakes, or you could lose your OAS for a year or two because of bad decisions. I go into much more detail about the OAS clawback in this video right here. See, receiving your OAS pension outside of the country is actually also possible, but there's requirements for this to apply to you. You need to have lived in Canada for at least 20 years after turning 18, and you've lived and worked in a country that has social security agreements with Canada. That's another possibility. The time you lived or worked in that country, as long as there's that agreement, plus the time spent in Canada, must equal to 20 years. So if you do not qualify to receive old age security pension while outside Canada, your pension will stop 6 months after you've left. You also cannot collect the guaranteed income supplement if you're outside the country for more than 6 months. There's a lot more nuance to OAS and taking pensions when you're outside of Canada. So be sure to subscribe and watch our follow-up videos about that. So how is the old age security taxed. OAS pensions are taxable income. The issue here is, for the most part, it's not automatically deducted from the monthly payments that you receive. You can ask for this to be withheld though, right? So you need to fill out the right forms to make sure, if you're the type of person that would scramble paying taxes at the end of the year, do your best to get this deductions handled as the payments are coming in. So here's a few thoughts on the old age security. The OAS is a staple for retirement for most Canadians, just like the CPP. So if you're planning on working past 65, even if you're eligible, I'm biased towards deferring government benefits if you have the means to do it. But that still depends on your personal situation. A lot of alarmists worry about the clawback without realizing that it really has more nuance, and there's a lot of details that you need to review before you even trigger the clawback. So what you can do to avoid it is exactly why I have the follow-up videos. But if you're the type of person that needs help and you want a second set of eyes to review these things, we have our contact information in the links below so that we can make the most out of your government benefits. In video 3, we will give you things that you can consider in your retirement so that you can alleviate and even eliminate the clawback concerns altogether. You can start watching that video now. Cheers! If you found this video valuable, please hit the like button. It really does help get this information across to more people that need it. Bye!